All right, greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected and all the viewers are smarter than the average bear. What's up, people? How you doing? How y'all feeling? And good to see you. Let's see. What is happening? Give me 1 second. I have to close some of these windows. All right. We're live on Rockfin, Rumble, YouTube. Thanks for hanging out. Got some peeps on Rockfin. Denver's here. Osama's here. Yeah. Biden said some things. And said some weird things at the DNC. He said what? He said it would be a bloodbath if Kamala got elected. He actually said U.S. autos would and are killing themselves because of the cost of EVs. Not to mention performance and equal, if not bigger, carbon footprint. Well, that's kind of true. I actually saw that some company was, I think it was Ford, was discontinuing some of their EV production. Is that right? I think I saw. That is a thing that's happening. Again, if you're working on a business model that doesn't include reality, i.e., data and physics, math and physics, well, then it's not going to work out. Your business model is going to fail. Same thing if your business model involves ripping off your customers or ripping off your employees. Like you're gonna fail. It's just, you can only do that for so long before you lose viability. Let's see if I can find this. It says Ford is retiring 3 gas models to make way for EVs. Well, let's see. Anyways, it didn't really come up. Hold on 1 second. I'm getting too many things here. Well, I'll have to find that post. Hold on. Maybe this is a better one. Discontinued electric vehicles. Audi, BMW. Looks like quite a few. General Motors, Cadillac. The Volt. Wow, the Chevy Volt. That's interesting. I guess Fiat, Ford. I guess this is the Ford Mustang Mach E. A lot of Fords, actually. The Ranger, the Fusion Energy. I've heard several stories of people buying a Ford electric and having the car just completely crap out on them, or not being able to get the battery. So, true story. The Volt was a hybrid. Yeah, you're right. Excuse me. I'm thinking of the Bolt, which is the full EV. Excuse me. Old as Dirt is here. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it. It's already getting late. Ford, Dodge, Chevy, and all of them are going out because they want $100,000 for a truck. Well, and that also would be prohibitive as well. All right. Anybody on Rumble? Hello. Let's see. See if anybody's over here. All right. Oh. Some people are on Rumble. You can like the stream there. You can share the show. But what the thing that I've heard about the EVs is that they're heavily subsidized, and some companies are rolling them out at a loss. It sounds familiar though, right? Several, tech companies still operate in the red. Amazon did for a long time. So there's a lot of push for them to be successful even when they're not successful, right? They really want these companies to succeed. There's, famously, I think Uber operated in the red for a long time. Lyft still operates in the red. Uber, I think, just turned a profit for the first time last year. And how long has this company been around? The viabilities of these things are not proven out in the marketplace, which is actually running on a socialist model, not a raw capitalist model. And I'd be okay with the socialist model if it meant better things for people. But what you have is capitalist profit-driven companies having their viability and their profits shored up by the socialism. And so it's not a fair playing field. Trump media runs in the red? I wouldn't doubt it. A lot of what Trump does runs in the red. But so does the DNC. So there's that all kinds of things that are presented to us as real and viable and authoritative are actually facades, not real at all. But yeah. All right, but glad you're all here, and let's talk about a few things because time is always limited. Basically, Salt Lakers, yeah, it's about who can come up with the best scam at the moment. Yeah. Well, corruption is rampant. Everything is a money laundering scheme. Most things are scams. And, you know, a lot of companies have to run on exploitation in order to survive. And it's unfortunate. All right. It won't end well. Victory Jin sent me this. This is a crazy flash flood. The speed of a flash flood. You don't want to get caught in that. The Gulf of Mexico is very, very warm at the moment. Highest ocean heat content in the Gulf on record. This is Brian McNulty. All-time highs, just like the stock market. Watch out for the chili bow, extra boa. Despite this, the high heat, Jeff Baradelli breaks down why we don't have. Ernesto kind of petered out, but there's been plenty of storm damage, already plenty of extreme weather in 2024 chalked up to tropical storms and hurricanes and whatnot. But there's a little bit of a lull in the storm development, so he's going to tell you why.
Rest of the Atlantic, you could almost hear a pin drop. That's how quiet it is. Although at this time of year, it should be very active. We should see a wave train going on. So what is happening? Let's talk about it. As we spin the globe and head towards Africa, this is where our tropical waves come from. And there was a very strong one that just emerged off Africa. And normally it would develop. But watch this. It had moved too far north, to the north of the Cape Verde Islands, rather than to the south. And so it entrained a lot of dry air, and it just withered away those thunderstorms that usually move around those waves. Also, one other thing. Tropical waves that move too far north off the African coast, they don't develop. Why? Because the water is very, very cool right here. You can clearly see the contrast here. However, storms that move across the Cape Verde Islands or south of that, they do usually end up developing, or more often than when they emerge to the north. So right now we have these systems moving a little too far north. That will likely change in about 7 to 10 days, and then things will likely start getting a lot more active. Rest of the Atlantic, you could almost hear a pin drop. That's how quiet it is.
Okay. So he's telling you why there's no storms developing right now, even though ocean temperatures are at near record levels. But, things react in different ways, so who knows what's going on. It is quite warm, though. And, I guess be thankful for the calm, because we've already been blasted this year. Several countries and states, and lots of people have already been absolutely demolished by extreme weather. So take the calm where you can get it. I don't think it's going to last very long. All right. This is from Jack Lowe, how much recycling have you done today? And he's posting this video of a rocket engine exploding during a launch test. No. Yikes. I mean, what he's pointing out, obviously, is that while people are, concerned with the health status of the planet and the environment, there are lots of entities out there, actively destroying the planet hand over fist. So it's great that you're recycling. It's great that I'm recycling. Keep on trying. But until you can find a way to actively stop these lunatics from just demolishing the planet and the environment, I mean, you're not going to have a lot of impact. Your personal carbon footprint isn't going to move the needle much. He says, if I have to explain my post, I guess it hasn't worked, but just to be a little clearer, this post isn't about recycling. It's a post about the incongruity of our species' conversations and activities and our general failing to recognize the meta crisis we're in. I like that he's talking about somebody said no one was injured because heavy metals and forever chemicals chucked into the atmosphere don't count. He also mentions Katharine Hayhoe. Absolutely. Hold on. His initial question was enough of a prompt to get peeps thinking about the meta crisis. He says, if it's not enough, then hey-ho, absolutely not to be, or hey-ho, not to be confused with the toxic positivity of Katharine Hayhoe, right? Anyways. Somebody said, was wondering while watching the video what the carbon footprint of this event was, have similar thoughts when seeing SpaceX Starship tests. And no, I don't think we will succeed in colonizing other planets before we've destroyed this one. Jack says, precisely my thoughts, although we're too fixated on carbon footprints in our energy blind society. It's about everything. And yes, I think about SpaceX a lot too, spewing toxicity in countless ways. And here's another one. Keep on recycling, kids. We got this.
We have the bus. Keep pushing down range.
Rate of stress on the way to space.
Stage separation.
Boost bank startup.
Incredible views of our Super Heavy booster. And as you can see, the Super Heavy booster has just experienced a rapid, unscheduled disassembly. However, our ship is still underway. What a successful day this has been so far.
A rapid, unscheduled disassembly. Ha ha! That was beautiful. Rapid, unscheduled disassembly. That's amazing. You mean the booster? It blew up. It exploded. It exploded all over the place, Chuck. It exploded like extra Bulla's bathroom after chili night. That was crazy. Ooh, I don't want to open this. Sorry. I forgot all about my Opera browser. I don't have the energy for so many browsers and social media apps and so many things. I can't do it all. I can't keep it all together. I really just need, what do I need? Yeah, I need you to go away, Opera. Sorry. Hey, thank you. Okay, yeah, so some things happened politically. Here's Biden, doing Biden. Michael Tracy, the most insane moment of the night. Biden gets the crowd to tearfully cheer NATO expansion, quotes Henry Kissinger on his deathbed, invoking Napoleon, then screams Ukraine is still free after 2+ years of nonstop escalating carnage and nuclear brinksmanship with no end in sight. This guy looks very scary.
We united Europe like it hadn't been united for years, adding Finland and Sweden to NATO.
The fact that he sounds half drunk is, so reassuring, too.
10 days before he died, Henry Kissinger called and said, not since Napoleon has Europe not looked over their shoulder at Russia with dread until now. Until now. Well, guess what? Putin thought he'd take Kyiv in 3 days. 3 years later, Ukraine is still free.
Yay. I mean, I want everyone to do a thought exercise right now. I want you to imagine Trump saying the exact same things. I want you to see Trump supporters cheering in exactly the same way. And then tell me you would support this war in Ukraine. Or tell me you wouldn't be appalled by what he just said. Tell me you wouldn't be, disgusted by that, afraid, concerned, cringing. What's the difference? No difference. One guy be blue, one guy be red. Somehow one side is worse than the other. I don't know. But they just are. Okay. Then keep that logic to yourself. But it just is. Okay. Then go back to 3rd grade and repeat the class. All right. That was frightening. That was frightening. Let's look at Adam McKay giving you a little historical insight into why the Democratic Party is such a ratchet pile of doo-doo at this moment. And somebody, Denver says Biden and the NPC convention cheers us on. Yeah, they are maniacs. Absolute maniacs. I keep seeing people going, talking about, how it's the downfall of civilization and people just believe anything that they're told. And then they always go, and then they always show, Trump and Trump supporters, and they always paint it as like these are people are just, they're just zombies, just believing whatever they're told. I'm just like, you are insane. Like that's the ultimate insanity is these people, describing the problem and not including themselves in the problem. And again, having people on either side of the aisle going like, no, they're crazy. Look how crazy they are. And not including themselves in that circle of crazy. Anyways. Adam McKay. You know Adam McKay. Adam McKay. Don't look up Adam McKay. This is he's going to describe to you why, Bill Clinton was a big part of the very right-wing drift of the Democratic Party. And why that, like describing your side of the aisle is different than the other side of the aisle is, unless you're pointing out both sides as being bad, you're in the circle of crazy and you don't even know it. And then that's worse than actually, I don't know, it's worse than anything, I think. A lot of people on here defending Bill Clinton as a successful president. Personal definition of successful aside, here's a review of Bill Clinton's record. Clinton signing the crime bill that resulted in the mass incarceration of millions of people of color. Remember Biden going like, yeah, we got to lock them up. These people they're bad. We got to lock them up. Hillary Clinton, super predators. Remember that? Again, historical amnesia doesn't discount you from being culpable in believing lies and liars and supporting trash, garbage. Bill Clinton and the Republican Corporation written trade deals. Right. NAFTA was a Republican. Yeah. Anyways, China, MFN, most favored nation status, NAFTA, GATT, cost America between millions of manufacturing jobs and created fertile soil for the rise of the extreme right. Also, big corporations could pay slave labor wages and break unions. If you're wondering why the unions are so weak, and Democrats don't even support unions. They say that they do, but they haven't supported unions in a long time. They just go out, shake hands. Oh, we're really behind you. And then they, undermine the unions just as much as the Republicans do. Anyways, NAFTA was a Republican trade deal that they couldn't get through, but Bill Clinton could. Clinton deregulation of Wall Street, which played a major role in the housing market collapse of 2007. Ding, ding, ding. Also, playing a role in mainstream media being able to brainwash you and create monopolize information. And that's having an effect now. That effect is kicking in, has been kicking in now. Deregulating the media. And then I was talking about that. There used to be rules against conglomerates just buying all the news. Not so much after Bill Clinton. Thank him. And bought Congress in large part for the train wreck that is our modern news media. When COVID hit, it was time for our social safety net to do its job and prevent millions from falling into poverty. But there was one problem. It wasn't there anymore. Thanks, Bill. He famously ended welfare as it used to be known in the 80s, up through the 80s, right? Welfare was something that was kind of kicked in the 60s. With the Great Society reforms and Lyndon Johnson. And it was gutted in the 90s by Bill Clinton. At the behest of the oligarchs, the right-wing fascist oligarchs that run the country. At the behest, he was like, sure, I'll do it. How tight were Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein? Tight enough that Bill invited Epstein's pimp, Ghislaine Maxwell, to his daughter's wedding. True story. Here she is. She's in this picture. Trump, Bill Gates, Secretary Richardson, and a ton of other powerful people all hung with Epstein even after he was a convicted sex offender. He also was a frequent guest at the White House of the Clinton administration. So there's that too. So it's not, and here's another thing that both sides do. Bill Clinton and Epstein, they were tight. They were, the right. And then the left goes, Trump and Epstein, they were tight. Well, guess what? How about they were all tight. They're all bad. Looked somewhere else. Okay. Extra bonus. Look up Brooksley Bourne. She had a crazy idea that financial derivatives were dangerous and needed to be regulated. So Clinton and his gang of economic advisors fired her. 10 years later, the housing market collapsed because of, unregulated derivatives. Igor added, and then him forcing the same neoliberal prescriptions on the post-Soviet Russia in the 90s and expanding NATO, that preconditioned both Putin's rise to power and the future conflict between Russia and NATO, and he also took away Ukraine's nukes. Anyways. Interesting post, right? By Adam McKay. A lot of people can't afford to work because of insurance. Max Sargey. Yeah. Right. So, that's Clinton's legacy. Some of Clinton's legacy. He also, engaged in forever wars and, bombing of brown people who didn't deserve it. Someone, why do I pick on the Democrats? Somebody asked. Because we already know about the Republicans. The Republicans are easy targets. Trump is an easy target. You already know. I mean, sure. Yeah, there's lots to talk about with Trump. But, it's the issue is that people believe that Democrats care about you, or that they're the good guys, or that they're the lesser of two evils, or whatever you want to believe about them, or that somehow they're the good guys. Somehow they care. Somehow they're gonna make it better if you just vote harder. And the purpose of focusing on the Democrats is to dispel the notion. And some people just, whatever. They're not going to give it up because they're in a cult and they don't know it. And so that's the scariest part. Even if the cult is, even if you believe Democrats are bad, but you're still in the cult if you're like, but Trump is literally Hitler. Trump is just so bad. Project 2020, he's just so bad, right? Even like if you believe even that part of it, you're in the cult, right? You still believe that somehow these people are going to be less dangerous than Trump. No, I don't understand what part of Biden's administration you don't get. What part of the Biden administration have you failed to even like open your eyes to in the last 4 years, right? You are a literal zombie because you can't even see the reality that's right in front of your face. Hey, look how terrible this is. You look at the utter nonsense and despicable stuff that's going on, and you're like, no, he's still better. No, there is no better. There is no better. I keep on hammering on this anyways, Adam McKay for the win with that. Thanks, Adam. FCC modernization, yeah. That destroyed diversity of ownership and opinion. Yep. Democrats passing that stuff. Obama taking away habeas corpus, right? You couldn't get that done with a Republican because you could see it happening and people would be like, hey, This is something that was enshrined in our law, in the Constitution a long time ago. And Obama just snuck it on in there until people were like, "What? What happened?" Yeah, he did that. He did that. Also started a couple wars and bombs, started the Syrian thing and the kind of kicked off the Ukraine thing. Libya, Somalia, Yemen, Thanks, Obama. His biggest scandal was wearing a brown suit. I am dumb. Anyways. What's going on? Okay. Lastly, this is very interesting. This is an interesting I don't know if you want to call it an admission, or is it steering people into a certain idea? I don't know. This is Nicole Shanahan, who is RFK's VP, saying that they are currently debating whether to keep going with their campaign or drop out and support Trump. Wow. Okay. Personally, they said they should absolutely stay a third party and try and dismantle the two-party system. I mean, it's just obvious. But she's saying, well, we don't know what we're going to do. Like, so the fact that they're even considering dropping out and supporting Trump is it's pretty, yeah. I don't like anybody anymore. I don't like anybody anymore. I guess Jill Stein's cool. I don't know. Even the Green Party is somewhat sus these days. I do like Jill Stein, but I don't even know if I like her enough to vote for her again. Anyways, let's listen to this. This is very interesting.
What my gut tells me right now is that we just have to keep being honest. I got to just keep being honest. I got to keep focusing on what matters the most outside of party lines. I need to focus on a vision that goes beyond November. And if that means that we stay in, and there's benefits to staying in. If we get over 5% of the vote, we actually establish ourselves as a party. 71% of Americans want a strong third party with a real shot at winning.
Did she say 70%? Yes.
There's even public funds available if we get over 5% of the vote. So we could get, I think it's like $13.5 million in public funds to keep the party going. And that's, that's worth something. That means that we can position for a real third party election in 2028 where we don't have to go around and spend tens of millions of dollars on ballot access.
That's the one you do.
Which means that we can spend all of that time and money campaigning. So, there's two options that we're looking at. And one is staying in, forming that new party, but we run the risk of a Kamala Harris and Waltz presidency because we draw votes from Trump, or we draw somehow more votes from Trump, or we walk away right now and join forces with Donald Trump, and we walk away from that and we explain to our base why we're making this decision. Not easy.
Clearly.
Yeah, not an easy decision.
Now,
I don't know. That's weird to me. It's real weird. Somebody said they already are vocal fry is annoying, yeah. because they're already thinking about it, they've already decided to do it, which I kind of think so too. I agree. Steph C. Yeah, Steph C said, I think RFK should join Stein. That will not draw from Trump, and Trump supporters will not support it at all. Jill Stein is the only anti-war candidate. Yeah, I mean, vocally anti-war. Yeah, you're right. I mean, is everybody else still in the race? Or has everybody else dropped out? I don't know. That's a weird one for me, man. That is just a weird one. Same with Bernie Sanders not going independent after the 2016 Democratic convention. The fact that he supported Hillary Clinton was just so ridiculous to me, and actually, makes me think that somebody pressured him because he knew he actually had more support than Trump or Hillary. If he went independent, people's heads would have exploded. People would have been, oh my God, let's go. Like that would have been, is Cornel West still in? He's anti-war. What about Marianne Williamson? I don't know so much. She's kind of like waffling on the war. She's like, I love, and peace is so loving, and love is so peaceful. But I don't know. We might have to send some troops over there. I don't know. I don't know if that's her or not. Yeah, if Bernie would have done that, that would have been a pivotal moment in history. And could have broken the two-party system, and they knew that, and they were like, hell no, don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. RFK, RFK is pretty much roundly hated by a lot of Democrats because Democrats are so smart generally. They're just the most intelligent. So, when people start saying things that are true, they just go, I hate that person. That's the sign of a democratic intelligence is like when people say things that are true, but maybe counter to the CNN narrative, but they still have truth in footnotes and a lot of evidence. And Democrats are like, I hate that person. Kind of like Bernie, right? Bernie was speaking the truth, and they're like, I hate that guy. Bernie. He's literally Hitler. Didn't somebody say if Bernie won, there'd be brown shirts marching in Washington? I think somebody on national TV said something like that about Bernie. I hate that guy, therefore he is literally Hitler. Can you think of anything that defines liberal intelligence more than that? That's the sign of the people that went to college and stuff and are like the managerial class, like that kind of thinking. That's why they're in charge. I mean, who am I to say? These people know more than I do. Let's see. Clint says there needs to be new third parties that aren't green or libertarian. Green and libertarian have failed to get there. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, failed to get large enough base of supporters for decades now. Well, I also think that they're somewhat co-opted. Like the Green Party. Remember when Howie was the Green Party nominee last go around, and he was terrible. Like his run was horrible, and their platform was like Dem light. They didn't stray too far from the Democratic platform, just on a few things like Medi-Cal for all and a Green New Deal, right? But everything else is like a Democratic platform. So there's a lot of co-option, and people feel the same way about the Libertarian Party, that they're co-opted. So they're not really gonna fight for their message or their people. Malcolm Young says direct citizen assembly is the only true democracy. But okay. Gene says, last I heard, the November election will determine if the U.S. becomes a fascist dictatorship and a communist dictatorship. Yes, you're right. You're right. Yes, I mean the rhetoric is just amazing. But didn't that happen in 2016? Wasn't it, we got to, if Trump wins, it's going to be, we're going to turn into a fascist authoritarian dictatorship? Did that happen? I don't think so. I'm not saying Trump is great. I'm just saying that didn't happen. That particular thing did not happen. And it, that also draws away that argument actually distracts from the reality that we're already, full on fascist on many levels. A fascist dictatorship, not yet. But we're pretty far along the fascist road, and the Democrats and the Republicans are both part of it. So you want to make it about one person and not about the fact that, like, it's already here, we're already living in it. It's already, it's creeping fascism every single day. It gets worse and worse. Oh no, things are not going well in the UK. No. Okay. Last thing I want to play for y'all. This guy, y'all heard of Aaron Day? I've heard a couple of, I actually listened to, he does a live stream on Twitter once in a while. Aaron Day is educating people on the co-option of Bitcoin and also about the coming CBDCs. He's just,
I mean, in New Hampshire, there have been stores,
he's just an interesting dude.
Restaurants that have been accepting crypto directly for well over a decade. And when I decided to leave politics, I decided to focus on solutions where you could apply this blockchain technology Bitcoin to other areas besides just money.
Really hate that. StreamYard has an issue with playing YouTube videos, and that it's just hard to get them to control themselves. Anyways, let's see if we can get this to control itself.
Actions. I mean, in New Hampshire, there have been stores and.
All right, I'm just trying to get him to stop talking for a second. Anyways, he's an interesting guy, and I just want to play. He did a little interview with Derek Bros, and we're going to listen to a little bit of what he has to say about Bitcoin co-option, and I'll just play a couple sections of this. And he's talking about alternatives. What he's trying to do is build like an alternative based on blockchain, like an alternative exchange of goods, I guess, or value. What's up, Cyrus? How you doing? So he's educating people on what is going on with CBDCs and crypto technology and stuff like that. Anyways, let's listen.
Restaurants that have been accepting crypto directly for well over a decade. And when I decided to leave politics, I decided to focus on solutions where you could apply this blockchain technology behind Bitcoin to other areas besides just money. So if you look at assets overall, money represents only 5% of global assets. So you can use the same technology behind Bitcoin to tokenize other assets, whether it's homes, cars, stocks, bonds, arts, collectibles. And I really decided to go focus on that. Then COVID happened, And then I started to see friends of mine, people in the Free State Project, getting targeted by the federal government. So Ian Freeman, who I mentioned, who introduced me to this early on, was arrested, and I actually went to his sentencing hearing. So he is in federal prison for 8 years for just selling Bitcoin, basically without a license. Jeremy Kauffman, who's another Free Stater, had his business destroyed by the SEC. He started Library. So I decided to look into, since I was already deeply involved with crypto, why is this happening? Why are these people being targeted for crypto-related things? Especially knowing that this isn't criminal activity. These are very much peaceful people that promote voluntary interaction. And my research found that CBDCs are much further along in development than I had originally thought. In 2020, there were 35 countries just at the research phase of CBDCs. Really, only China was the only country that was piloting a CBDC at this point. So you had 35 in 2020. Fast forward to today, there are 134 countries representing 98% of the global GDP at various phases of either piloting or researching or rolling out CBDCs. 11 countries have already rolled out CBDCs. There are more CBDC accounts globally now than crypto accounts. And when I realized this, I kind of connected the dots. I'm like, look, this is the single biggest threat to human liberty. The ability to program, monitor, and censor people's financial transactions is basically the basis for digital tyranny and the end of free will. So I wrote a book about it called The Final Countdown. And the purpose of the book was to educate people not only on what I've learned about CBDCs in terms of where they are in progression, but what the philosophy is behind it, to also educate people about fiat currency and the fact that all fiat currencies fail and the dollar will be no exception. And then the last half of the book is specific practical advice. So I exited the dollar in 2019. I've been living on crypto, gold, and silver since then without a bank account. And so what I tried to do in this book was to educate people so that, somebody who's not technically sophisticated could read this book and then actually go through the process of obtaining crypto and starting to figure out how to use it for day-to-day transactions in their life. What I ran for president, actually, in the Republican Party, not that I'm a Republican, but to try to raise this issue. I actually wanted to try to get into the debates just to sound the alarm bell about CBDCs. I wasn't able to get into debates or even get polling done, but I was able to meet with other presidential candidates. And I want to be very clear, there are no political solutions to this. I was simply trying to use this as a platform to educate the public, use the fact that the circus stage of politics is a way to get in front of people. And so since I dropped out of the race in October, I've been a fellow at the Brownstone Institute, and I've been going around the country doing 4-hour workshops where the first half explains the problem. And then the back half, what I found is while the book was meant to be self-sufficient, people have a problem taking that first step. Most people don't use crypto. I mean, I think I saw a stat last month, only 0.4% of Americans used crypto to make a transaction. So while many within the echo chamber are fighting, amongst themselves, amongst these various cryptos, 95% of the world has never used a crypto. And that audience is wide open to us. So in these workshops, I empower people. I get them set up with a wallet. I actually show them how to use it. I also give them gold backs because this is a multi-asset approach. It's not a just this crypto or just this crypto. In order to stop CBDCs, we need to have a solution that has enough buying power and enough ability to handle transactions per second to compete with the CBDC that's upcoming. So that's the quick tour of the background and how we got to where we are today.
It's interesting, Aaron. I feel like I'm talking to a kindred spirit in some way. So here's my gold backs right here and some silver I have in front of me and things like that. And I haven't had a bank account since 2008. I've been using Bitcoin since 2012. I first started getting involved in where I'm originally from in Houston, in Texas, learning about it back then. But because I was already kind of following the kind of counter economic, learning more about that lifestyle and just that activism and strategy, really, I was starting to get paid for my journalism, and a friend was also into Bitcoin. He's like, hey, look, I'll sell you this Bitcoin and pay you that way. And unfortunately, I cashed out every time and did not hold on to any of the Bitcoin from back then. But and I also, around the same time, my book, which sounds similar to yours, and I'd love to get a copy of yours, How to Opt Out
Well, I'm so glad that I stopped the video in order to have silence. Goldbacks are a new form of currency, and they're a way to make gold. And I think they have silverbacks too. Gold and silver to make them transactional. So he held one up. It's about the shape of like a dollar, but I think they're like laminated and they have like gold in them. There's actual gold in the goldbacks and silver in the silverbacks. So, anyways, that's what they are.
How the technocratic state.
I'm going to play a couple more minutes of this. I'm going to have to go soon, but I just want to let you know, if you want to support this show, there are links in the description box. You know that I can always use your support in order to keep the show going. The show does require me to put in some time, effort, energy, work, and all that kind of good stuff. And so, like, when you guys support me monetarily, it really helps to keep me going. And a lot of you already support the show, and you know who you are, and I appreciate you. Anyways, the links in all the description boxes of all the platforms I'm on, are the usuals: PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, Coffees, Patreon, etc., etc. So, just need to say that. Anyways, this guy Aaron Day, go follow him on Twitter, or he has a website too. The moment of silence was a positive thing? Okay.
State is, similar to describing the problems and some of the philosophy behind the technocracy we're seeing and the push towards CBDCs and other things, and also tries to give some experience from my own personal life. So I feel like I'm talking to the perfect person, where usually I'm speaking to other people who are trying to get on the path that we both seem to be on. And so it's great to connect in that way, because there's not too many of us, unfortunately, as I'm sure you've seen, who are actively pursuing alternative counter-economic paths, whether that's through crypto or goldbacks or silver or some other alternative currency. And I do think that's changing. But yeah, it's great to connect to somebody else who understands and gets the importance of that. And that's really what I want us to focus on with.
All right, I'm gonna stop playing it there. I just want to play that to, if you're interested in following this guy Aaron Day. He's got, it's mostly just for information, y'all, about thinking about alternative currencies and using them in different ways, and being set up to possibly use crypto. He talks about all kinds of stuff, Monero and Zeno and some other coins, and ways to convert your crypto into being usable in the economy without actually transacting in dollars. Anyways, Creative Experiment says, the DNC did not replace Brain Fallout. There'll be a Brain Fallout tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow is Wednesday. We'll do Brain Fallout tomorrow at 11, okay? There are lots of alternative, currencies out there, right? There's lots of hedges against the fiat, the U.S. dollar, right? There's, and people have different opinions about what is the best way to go. I say, go many ways, diversify, and do your best, really, because Max RJ, correct. Crypto went from 10 cents to thousands of dollars. You can't do that with silver or gold. No. And the silver and gold markets are highly manipulated. Is crypto manipulated? Sure. But you can, and I actually have several times, bought small amounts of crypto that turned into a lot of money. And I'm looking to do that again. So there are cryptos out there that if you have, if you're in the right time in the right space, you can 1000x your money, it's possible still with crypto. So, and that's something that only people with lots of generally people with lots of capital and access to markets. Only people with very powerful people, very connected, powerful people can do with their money. Right? Is 100 time or 1,000 time your money. But with crypto, anybody can do that at any time if you have the smarts to see it. Anyways, maybe not even smarts. If you just have a tip, if somebody says, "Hey, buy this crypto because this is going to happen," that you can just go, "Sure, fine. I have $10 or $100 or $1,000, whatever." All right. That's it. That's all I got for you today. I'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. It will be a Brain Fallout Wednesday. And come on back for some of that. I don't know if I have anybody to thank today. Let me check before I go. I don't want to leave anybody out or hanging. I don't think so. Not today. All right, guys. Sorry. Long days. Every day is a long day. Every day, long day. All right, guys. Thanks so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. And especially the conversation. So, always a good time. Until next time, peace.